Welcome back to Level 3 Focus. So before we get into it, I see Monster Hands in the chat there saying, isn't bulldogging part of footsies? They're kind of related. In footsies, you have to walk forward, of course, and you have to know when you're going to block. That's a big part of footsies, absolutely. But bulldogging is specifically walking forward and blocking when you see or expect a fireball or a normal attack or whatever it is that your opponent character can bring out to control space. Something that does occur up close, but at the little footsie range, it's something that doesn't happen quite as often. If you go back and look through the Dominion versus SnakeEyez thing that we just saw, once SnakeEyez got to the corner, he was no longer so much just bulldogging it. He wasn't just walking up and blocking, occasionally, but it wasn't his main thing as it was outside of it. Once he got there, he was starting to challenge a little bit more with buttons and with pile driver and with anti-airs and that kind of stuff if Guile was jumping back. So they are definitely related, but bulldogging, I think, is its own kind of concept on the way in, on the approach. So let's go on to the next one, if you could. Next one, please give me that one. Yeah. So Kumite in Tennessee was a tournament that happened, I guess, a week and a half ago, last weekend. There it is. And it was a good Injustice tournament. There were lots of really good players there. In particular, the areas that did great were Chicago area and the Atlanta area, although a dude from Ohio ended up winning it, so that's kind of funny. You actually have to fast forward a little bit. It's not going to be immediate. They go through extended button checks. And you know, while we're waiting, let me just explain the characters that we're going to see. So Bane, this is still button checks, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Bane is a character that has really good pressure on wake up. Yeah, pause, I guess. Pressure on wake up is amazing. He controls the screen. If you look at where his fist is right now, he controls that spot until about the end of the K. Or no, go back because I'm talking about the space. You see the end of the K or like the middle of the K? That is Bane's when he has the venom down there in the bottom. You see it's a green thing. It's all lit up. That means that he has the ability to put armor on a lot of his special moves, and he gets really scary. His damage output can be crazy. So he is definitely a character who needs to get in. That's his effective range. Not that great from outside of it. On the other side is Harley. She has a lot more in the way of zoning options. She has a gun that she can fire at about that speed, and it's very fast as it moves across the screen. She has a slower gun that can launch. She has cupcakes that are thrown at this really annoying arc that really controls jump space well, and that are an overhead and start a lot of damage. She can jump back and fire at you from there. She can EX it or meter burn it for another hit. She has good mobility too. So she's a character that can keep Bane out. Well, that's pretty much the little rundown. Keep in mind what we've been talking about. Look for bulldogging. Look for how Max evades. Just, I guess, for the evasion thing, you know, look for the fact that his character has a good dash. Look for the fact that his character has better mobility when there's Venom going, rather than when Venom is not there. When Venom is not there, he's susceptible to a lot of stuff. He's definitely a slower character, takes a lot more damage. But when that is there, look for that. Understand, or that is to say, look for how he is willing to give up life for positioning, for damage, for meter, that kind of stuff. And look for, you know, just the fact that he's willing to keep trying. So, all right, let's get into this thing. Salt Face, GGA Max. Oh, missed a little bit of a combo opportunity. She wakes up. She can get out. That was a grab attempt. As you can see, it did not work out. So now, here comes the zoning game. Jump back. Oh, he gets in with a really fast dash. When he's on, again, when he has Venom, he gets much faster. When he does not, as you can see, he deals almost no damage. So very hot and cold kind of character design. Let's see how he's willing to just move forward. He's getting hit sometimes. It's not that big a deal. It's really not taking off that much damage. And as it's happening, he is moving Saltface backwards. See, each time Saltface does that jump gun, it's actually moving backwards a little bit. And when Bane gets you to the corner, it's night-night. Wow, that was a lot of respect right there from Max. Gets the wake up, and we're back to zoning. So she can keep that gun up if she wants to. She can just keep shooting with one hand on the other for a pretty long period of time. Yeah. So the bulldogging right there ends up losing him the round. Oh, there's the EX Cupcakes that controls a ton of space. Again, jumping back. And you see how Max is playing patiently. He knows he's getting towards the corner now, so he doesn't want to take major risks. Oh, a little bit too far for the cancel. You can spend a couple bars and get a wall bounce at the end of that and deals a ton of damage, but didn't work out. So far, definitely the zoning game is working out for Saltface over Max. So with no Venom, doesn't want to approach. Now he finally has it. And very similar situation. Okay, now all that time, this is exactly where he needs to make a count. Unfortunately for him, doesn't really work out that great. He has a move where if he has Venom, he can absorb one projectile or up to infinite projectiles if he has level 3 Venom. So look for that big Raging Charge to come a couple of times. But there's a lot of risk to it. I think he pretty much gets blown here. There's a lot of risk to it because, as you'll see, he keeps running even after he passes you. And that means that he loses a lot of positioning if he guesses wrong. So it's, as a guess, as a way to get in this matchup and a couple other matchups, it's pretty risky. Not really that great. Can't afford chip. He knew that it was either going to be gun or cupcake, and it was cupcake to control the jump. So very similar situation that we saw Kusumondo get into at the end of a round against Afro Legends DJ, where it was stay on the ground and get chipped there, or jump and get anti-air. You just got to guess. And, well, in both situations, the zoner won out. It's Max on the left. Saltface on the right with his little Harley pixel art. And back into it now. So Max maybe having thought about it a little bit. After this, we're going to see, yeah, right back to the zoning game here. So those jump guns, as you can see, are definitely an annoyance for him. But the way he's trying to get through, and it's not working that great. But the way he's trying to get through, there's the problem with the Raging Charge, just loose positioning. Is that he's really trying to bulldog a lot. He's trying to jump, as Kusumondo did, trying to have smart timings on his jumps. Trying to dash and then block, as you saw. Walk speeds are not very fast in this game, so the dash is really where it's at as far as moving in. And he had quite a bit of that just before this. So it finally did pay off. You see what I'm talking about Bane's ability to press once he finally gets a knockdown. He just took off 55% in like 3 series. So Bane with no Venom needs to play back. He did, finally gets Venom again. And he's going to end it. Willing to play patiently when he doesn't have Venom, when he doesn't have the resources to get in. Here's a bit of bulldogging. And slowly jumping over. You can jump over those guns, as you can see, over the jump guns if you have the right spot on screen. Still playing very patiently. He knows now that he's so close towards the corner. Okay, this is exactly where he needs to make a count. All that time spent. And unfortunately for him, does not pay off. Gets the clash, but unfortunately that sucks for Bane because he still loses the Venom. So trying to bulldog. Okay, finally finds his way in. Gets the jump 3. And now she's forced to clash, which totally sucks for Max because now he loses pressure, he loses Venom, gets tossed full screen, as you can see. Really bad spot for a character like his to be in. Still getting caught by those jump guns. But he's willing to keep marching in. Well, maybe maybe a little bit too willing right there. The try again thing maybe took a little bit too much to heart. But you can definitely see what he's going for. Trying to get into that range where he can get a down 2, the move that pops his opponent up is the anti-air. Out of that, he can get a lot of good stuff. Damage, knockdown, into really good meaty setups. Looking exasperated, though. But it's interesting how similar the way that he's trying to get in is to how Honda tried to get in, despite the fact that this game has dashes and the fact that there's essentially focus dash toward in this game. His character has armor, and yet you can see a lot of very similar stuff. So this is exactly now where Bane wants to be, where he needs to be. You can see he has the Venom up, deals crazy damage in that situation. And that was great. So you can see what happens when Bane gets you to the corner. He can take the round just like that. It's kind of why Max has been willing to be as occasionally patient as he has, and willing to give up as much life as he often has, because he knows that once he gets the knockdown, once he gets the corner, it can be completely different. But here it is, down 2 into jump 2. Had to wager. She knew that there was going to be too much damage. There was going to be a knockdown afterward, maybe even more damaging, potentially damaging. So Bane now with no Venom, you can see how slow his dash is. So backing off. At this point, in this game, unlike ST, chip is an issue, but it's not gonna win. It's not gonna win a round and a half, which is what Salt Fates needs it to do right now. So Max is definitely flipping up the character archetypes right now. Raging, yeah, you see what I'm talking about? It's just it seems like it should be a good option, that dash, that raging charge, but it's really not as good as Max would probably like it to be. Okay, now that Venom debuff is gone. Oh, she put herself in a bad spot. So this is exactly what I was talking about with capitalizing on the opponent's mistakes. She put herself into the corner. This is the meaty pressure that Bane can bring. Once he's in the corner, that's it. Now, that was that one mistake. You know, she was working on the comeback. But Saltface pressed a little bit too hard. He thought he was running out of time, I guess, and he went in, and that's how you lose a round. Again, dash up, block. Dash up, wait. Knocked out of the air. That's an overhead, by the way, those cupcakes. You gotta block that high. That's why you see him doing that. Here it is, down 2. Starts things off. So the bulldogging this time really paid off for him. He has level 3. Oh, look at that damage. It's ridiculous. Bane is so good. So he takes some damage there, but even worse than that for him is now he's on the wrong side of the screen. So Saltface is not going to put himself into a bad position like he did before. He's going to try to maintain this middle of the screen. He's going to keep pestering, chipping away. And Max has a lot of work to do to try to get back in. You can see how she waited for the meter burn on the gun right there. You can actually wait quite a bit in between the first gun and the second. Ooh, went right through the push block. Push block is a hit in this game, so you can get through it. Again, raging charge, but you see, it just leaves him in a bad spot. Again, yeah. Really not too effective. And she push blocks him away, trying to maintain that zone. And here's some patience from Max. You can see the gun she can just pretty much keep doing. Yeah. Gun. And all those hit high up enough on the screen that Bane can just duck them, which is what he's doing. Although maybe being a little bit too patient now. Yeah, raging. Not good. So when he's gone to things that have not been, kind of the general ideas that we're talking about, that is to say, when he goes to raging charge, it just has not paid off. Much better for him have been bulldogging and just kind of normal evasion and understanding how to trade, when to trade life for positioning. And of course, capitalizing on the opponent's mistakes, which is a huge part of why he won one of the games, or why he won the game that he won so far. Well, now the time is getting so low and he has a little bit of a life lead. Until he did the raging charge. He's definitely going for chip, which is not the normal kind of get-in character archetype option, but he's trying to make it work. Yeah, again, raging charge. Could have been punished. He could have definitely have already lost, or effectively have lost, but yeah. Wow. Keep in mind, this is, I think, losers finals, so yeah, but he had the life advantage. This is a pretty sick match, like, overall. So it's 2-2, losers finals, trying to get into grand finals against Forever King. And Saltface has lost the last two. You know, they have not been bad losses for him, with the exception of the one mistake that he made that Max capitalized on. But that was a very, very close round. The one before that he ended up losing, he could have taken it if not for that big mistake. So big bet on the raging charge. Doesn't work as a meaty. And now Bane back to the bulldogging, back to the patience game. Waits until he can get a Venom up, which he can now. See how patient he's being. As in most zoning matchups, the character that zones doesn't really deal a ton of damage at a time. And he knows that, so he knows he's willing, and he knows that he can afford to take these occasional hits. Oh, he didn't put any meter burn on that. If he had, he would have had armor, he could have gotten through that. That's actually an unblockable setup. That little meaty isn't unblockable there. So she leaves him standing. Wow, alright. And now Bane's got to try to get back in. Nice mobility on the way. Unfortunate for him, he misses the combo. Could have been a hugely different story already. Alright, dash in, he found the chance. And there you go. So he's out of Venom. It's going to be mostly back by the time next round starts. Yeah, there it is. Here comes some bulldogging. Yeah, Bane can get through. This is kind of hard to explain, but he can get through stuff, as you can see with his armor. And that's that. Command grab does that much life. So what were the things that helped him out the most? I said the word bulldogging approximately 1,000 times during that set. There was good, patience that he had in one case, in the case of the round just before this, that he won by timeout. There was major patience. He knew that he didn't need to get in at that point. He was right. He was willing to give up life for positioning and for damage. Think about the many times that he was continuing to walk forward or dash toward, even as Saltface was doing the jump gun, meter burn gun. He took a lot of damage from that, but that said, each time that she jumped backwards. And that meant that he was continually pushing her towards the corner, even as he was losing life. And he has a character that can make up that life differential so quickly that he knows that that's a good play overall. It's a good play in the end for him to try that stuff. And of course, willing to continually try again. So and capitalize on mistakes. When he didn't do as well was when he went away from that kind of basic game plan with the raging charges. A move that seems like it should be good, but is just not really that great in this matchup for doing what he wants it to do. Much better were the other options. Did that take a while?
Yeah, it took a while.
Okay, well, in that case, let's take a break. So, after this, we're going to get to Marvel vs. Capcom 3, match between Kaneblueriver and Chris G. Okay, we're back with Level 3 Focus. Today we're going over how characters get in. That is to say, how the approach works, understanding the approach. Both, especially for the side of the character who's trying to get in, but if you are the character who's trying to zone, understanding how your opponent is trying to get in is, of course, going to be of major value to you. So, something to pay attention to for those players as well. So far, we've gone over Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition, or Super Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition version 2012, Injustice, and in each of those 3 games, as different as they are, as many different options as they are, as different as the characters are, nevertheless, there have been a lot of similarities in how players who have needed to get in have dealt with trying to get in. They have had bulldogging be a major part of it, that is to say, walking up and blocking on reaction or expectation to something from the opponent, some zoning option, whether a normal attack or a projectile, to evasion, jumping over a projectile, dashing under a projectile, focus dashing through something we've seen in the last couple games. Understanding how to trade. Trading in Injustice was something that we saw with down 2 traded with Harley's jump attack, so you can get good stuff out of that. We saw that in ST a lot with jump attacks that Honda would use, or ground attacks that Honda would use that would trade with DJ in a way that dealt more damage for Honda, or that got a knockdown for Honda. Something that we've seen a lot is giving up life for something better. So as the character trying to get in, your life is not going to get whittled down super quickly in most games. This next one that we're going to look at is maybe a difference to that, but for the others that we've seen, that's the case. And as a result, you can give up life for positioning, or to deal damage to your opponent, or to gain meter, or to force your opponent to spend meter. All of those can be better than having life. Of course, ultimately losing the round is what will happen if you give up too much life, but smartly doing that is a major boon in making the approach. You have to capitalize on your opponent's mistakes. We saw especially, I would say, Max do that in the Injustice set. The one round where Harley quit trying to zone and went in, he turned that into a very, very quick game victory. So got to capitalize when it comes, and just not get flustered. That's another major thing. And let's head into this thing now. And that's a major thing in this set that we're gonna watch. Kaneblueriver playing Hulk, Sentinel, and Hagar versus Chris G playing Morgan, Doom, and Virgil. And getting flustered against Mordoom is something that a lot of people have dealt with. A lot of people have experienced. It's a frustrating kind of team to play against. So we'll see how Kane deals with that. This is from NorCal Regionals back in 2013. Oh, it's still a button check, I guess, or whatever. Something went wrong. So this is a little bit unusual in a couple of ways compared to the other games that we've seen. One is that Morgan actually does deal a ton of damage. Those fireballs take a lot of life, even on chip. They take a lot of life. She has backup of Doom that allows her to just really control space in ways that the other characters haven't been able to. And at the start of the round, the character is already in. That is to say, Hulk is already in at the start of the round. He has a huge advantage there, in fact. One of the best openings in the game is Hulk Hagar. So it's a bit different in a few ways, but nevertheless, just try to keep an eye open for the Marvel form of bulldogging and evasion and trading life for positioning. So he was, not, I wouldn't say playing patiently there, but, doing what he needed to do to wait for an opening, maybe is a better way to put it. So he found it. He found that one opportunity. He knows how important it is to give up resources, whether it's life, as Hulk did to try to get in, whether it's meter or X Factor, as Sentinel just did to try to get in, to try to make it count for himself. And that's exactly what's going to happen. So Kaneblueriver taking the first game. Chris G does not like it. This is losers, by the way. Loser's side, if you don't recall. Because Saynor Taxi had beaten them earlier. So he's going to get set very far away here as Chris. I'm sorry, is Kane. Chris in a great situation for himself. And Kane, after he gets hit, so he, just jumping around, trying to bulldog, using his equivalent of the Raging Charge, but amazingly good spacing by Chris to stay just above where it hit. So now we'll see Hagar try to play it patient. He wants Hulk to get red life back. That's the character on point that Kane would prefer in this matchup. As you can see, Hagar does not really have good mobility options to deal with this, so he's just kind of playing patiently. He knows that Hagar's life is maybe not as important, and I guess Sentinel's not as much for him either. So he hasn't really... I mean, he has been patient at times. He was very patient with Hagar, but in the first round, he was only patient for so long. He was only patient for so long with Hagar until he snapped in Sentinel, or that is to say, he tagged in Sentinel. For the loss, unfortunately for him. Really not too much that Hagar's going to do in that situation, so now he's saved it for Hulk. The character who he feels does the best in this matchup. Is probably right about that. And he finally got in. Unfortunately for him, he misjudges how close he was to the corner. That combo only works if you're in the corner already. So that could have been huge. It's not. Gonna lose the round. So he hasn't done too much of the bulldogging. Trading hasn't really worked out for him. For the most part, he's just lost life rather than losing life for positioning or for damage or meter. And as a result, that game did not work out at all for him. Chris is going to set him pretty far away again. This awesome missile setup. It's so cool. And Hulk really trying to get in. You see, he's not really playing patiently. There's a little bit of patience. Just jumping in. And that's definitely not patient. He's hoping that Chris is going to fall for that okie doke James explained earlier. Something that probably shouldn't work, but often does. And as a result of his, not doing, or that is to say, maybe not successfully doing the things that are successful in general for characters trying to get in, he's losing. And this is a pretty bad matchup. So I'm not gonna be all against how he's playing. I know this matchup is horrible, and you got to make bad guesses and all that stuff. But just to point out that he's not doing or is unable to do the things that are successful as you're trying to get in. So 2-1 Chris. Finally, as I said, as opposed to almost every other game, in this game, the character who needs to make the approach starts out in his opponent's face. And that means that he can do a pretty good job, just like this. Starts out with the command grab. So, it's a little unusual in that respect. The rest of the game now is pretty much not going to be zoning, so whatever. See what happens, I guess. Just continue watching it, why not? But, think about how maybe things would have gone a little bit differently if he had been able to, bulldog a little bit more, if he had been able to find those spots for evasion, as tough as that is, if he had been able to, more successfully trade, life, which he was obviously giving up as he was moving around, for better positioning or damage or meter. That's something that you see a lot of people do against Chris is, understanding that they're going to take a lot of chip damage, but just try to put themselves, as they're taking chip damage, into the best situation that they can be. Yep. This is definitely not a keep away situation, as you can see. And that's pretty much that. Yeah, so. Doesn't work out for Kane, as it did for the other players that we saw. But he's up against a particularly good zoning player and zoning team. And he's got a team that is not at all suited to dealing with that. But, we saw Honda versus DJ and ST, which is maybe about as bad a matchup, maybe not quite as bad, but, well, I don't know, maybe it's about the same. We saw Kusumondo, how he dealt with it. We saw, I think, a lot of situations among those 4 games that were similar. And we saw different, slightly different takes on how to deal with that. More emphasis on bulldogging in one, more emphasis on trades or capitalizing on another. And we saw with the example of Kane of not doing quite as much of those things and how the result was not good for him, very much in large part because of that. So as the character trying to get in, as the team trying to get in, those are the things that you have to pay attention to. Those are the things you have to use. Bulldogging, evasion, understanding and trading with buttons, knowing when to give up life in favor of damage, positioning, or meter, or meter concerns, capitalizing on opponents' mistakes, and just not getting frustrated. I think maybe part of what the issue with Kane there was that he was a little bit frustrated. We saw a lot more gamma charges than maybe were warranted, and maybe that was because he was a little bit frustrated. He has a tool, of course, that gets him through things, but unfortunately, as with the raging charge, his opponent knew how to stay on top of it, how to stay away from it, and it wasn't as successful as other things might have been. So I guess that's it for me for level 3 focus. Anything else you want to mention? Nope? Okay. Well, I guess that's it for tonight. So tune in tomorrow night at 8:30 p.m. Pacific time. We were made aware that our website actually has the wrong times for all of the shows. They all started at 8:30, okay? Not at 8. 8:30 p.m. Pacific time. That'll be tomorrow. On Tuesday, gonna be a ton of stuff to talk about tomorrow. We got to talk about complexity. We got to talk about Razer. We got to talk about the Evo reveal,
because it'll be right before
which is right before our show. Okay, on the Fray, I think, right?
Yes.
That's where the Evo lineup of games is going to be revealed. So make sure you check that out tomorrow. That'll be on twitch.tv/iplaywinner. But after that, come over to our channel, and we'll be talking all about it. Yeah, those are always interesting shows. I think.
I'm gonna have to listen to it while I'm going home. Then
me too.
To find out what the games are.
I'm gonna be doing the same thing.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. So it's gonna be an interesting show. Make sure you tune in on the same channel, twitch.tv/UltraChenTV. So, good night.